In this session, we will solve an exercise on two-dimensional array, and the exercise says you have to use the space below to write a Java program that will read integer values and store them in two-dimensional array of size 5 rows by 4 columns. And then we have to output the index of rows in which the sum of elements is equal to 100. So if we assume that we have the following two-dimensional array, so I have here 5 rows, 4 columns, and then we will ask the user to enter the values. Once the entry is done, we have to output a message, the sum equals 100 in row, and we have to output in which row. So we have to go for each row, and then we have to output if this row, the summation of this row equals 100. So for example here, for row equals 0, we will do the summation of 10 plus 10 plus 20 plus 60, and here we will find that the summation we have is equal to 100, and that's why we will say that in this row, which is row 0, we found that the summation is 100. Similarly, we'll go with the other row for row number 1, and we will say the summation of 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 2, and here we don't have the summation equal 100, so we will not output this row. And then we will go for each row till we reach the end of our two-dimensional array. So the concept, we can just do it for this example as we have to go and we have to declare two-dimensional array, and we have to have it of 5 rows by 4 columns, and the data type should be of type integer. And then we will ask the user to enter the values. So we need we need a nested loop to do for each row and for each column. Once the entry is done, we have to go and we have to go and find the summation of each row. And this means I have to declare a variable sum. Initially, the variable should have the value 0. When we are located at location I, which is the first row, we will keep doing the summation. So we will take the first number 10 and we will add it there. Take the second number and the summation will be 20. And then the third number, so here we should have 20 plus 20, 40. The last number 60 plus 40, which is 100. Once you reach the end of your columns, then you have to double check the value of the summation. So here we should have an if message, and we will just double check if the value of summation is equal 100. What do we need to do? We need to output the row number. So the row number is actually the value I. So here I have to do the output of the current value of I. So here we have to output the value 0. Once you are done with I equals 0, you have to go to the second row. So you will start again from the beginning, but you will just go with I equal 2. So in this case, I will be moving to 1. Again, you have to start summation from 0 to have a new sum, to have initialized to be 0. And then you will have to do the double check. So you'll have to say here, I have 10 added to the summation, so this is 10. Here again 10, we should have 20. Plus 5 should be 25. Plus 2 here we should have 27. Once we are done here, again we should have an if condition. If the summation equals 100, the summation in this case is not 100, so I will not do output anything, but I will go and move to the second row. So let's do the application of these into coding. So we have the following. We have the main method, and we already declared the scanner because we need to do the reading of the values. Now the second step is we need to declare the array. So the array will be as a two-dimensional array of size 5 rows by 4 columns, and that's why we have here the number 5 and here the number 4. And then we will ask the user for values. So just like we did in previous sessions, always we need nested loop. The first loop is going from I equals 0 up to the number of rows, which is 5 in this case. And then the second loop from j equals 0 up to the number of columns, which is list of I dot length, and this will be for in this case. So for each row, we will ask the user, please enter value. So when we have I equals 0, we will ask the user enter the values, and then we will go for each column, and then we will do the reading. We will read the number and we will save them in location I and J. And then we will go to the second row, so I will be 1, and similarly we will ask the user to enter the values, and then we will read the values. So let's assume the array was created as follow. This is my array, so just like as we said, my array is called list. I'm having 5 rows and 4 columns, and the data entry, let's assume the data entry was done as follow. So if this was entered by the user, we expect the output to be as follow. We will mention that the sum equals 100 in which row? In row 0 and in row 2, because if you go and check here in row 0, the summation 90, 10, 0 and 0, this is 100, so we will have to output. In row number 1, the summation 10 plus 10 plus 30 plus 10, it's not 100. Here we have 100 plus 0, so this is okay, we have to do the output. The other rows also, the summation is not 100. So now, how to go for each row and how to find the summation, and then we double check if it is 100 or not. This will be done as follow. I will output a message saying output the summation equal 100 in row just before we do the nested loop. That's why we will have this message just before we go for anything by row or by column. So this is only one time message. Now we have to have, just like as usual, we have a loop for each row, another loop we need it for each column. And once we start the row, always we have to remember we need the summation for each row. So that's why when you start your value of a new I, so the first time this is I located at location 0, you have to remember you have to initialize summation to be 0, and this is why summation here is 0. And then for each j, just move with the j, and the statement you have to do is only to take the value inside your array and you have to add it to the summation. So j will be just at the beginning as 0, and then it will be keep moving till the end, and the statement just it says do the summation. So it will say 90 plus 0, which is here we have it as 90, 10 plus 0, which will be as 100, 0 plus 100, 100, 0 plus 100, again 100. So by the time we finish the J loop, it means we went through all the elements in our array, in our first row. So it means once we finish this statement for J equals 0, do the summation, it means now we have the summation of the current row. The second step is we have to go and double check what is the value of the summation, and that's why you have here an if statement. You have if sum equal 100. Go and check the value of the current sum you have, which is currently we have it as 100. So this is true, yes. Then what do we need to do? We need to output the value of I. Current value of I is 0. It means we will output 0. Now we reach the end of the loop of I loop. It means I have to go to the second iteration. So I have to go and I'll have to do the second iteration of the I, which means we will go there and we will increment I. So incrementing I, it means I'll have to go and I say there the second I will be having the value 1. Now inside the loop, again I have to say integer sum equals 0. It means do not use the previous sum, which is 100. This is a new row, so what I have to do, I have to start from a fresh sum, which is 0. So the old value will be removed and we will have the initial value of summation as 0. Now go for each column and do the summation just like what you did in the previous row. So J will start from 0 and we will keep moving till the end, and then I'll just say take this value 10, add it to the summation, take the other value, it will be 20, take the second value, this is 50, and then take the last one, so it should be as 60. Now, once you are done with the calculation of the sum, go and check, is your current sum equal 100? Our current sum is actually 60, so it's not. So I will not do the output of the I, and that's why here in the output we didn't have row 1, because in row 1 we don't have summation equal 100. And we will go to the other row as well, and we will just do the same process we did. So again, you will just start with sum equals 0, and we will start doing the summation. And this is will do the job that was within the question, that go for each row, do the summation. If the summation equal 100, then you have to output your row number. As a small exercise, we can do the following. And instead of doing the summation for each row, let's do the summation of each column. So which means I have to start summation equals 0, but I have to go in this way, and we have to check, do we have here summation equals 0? If yes, we will output the column number, and then we will have to go to the second column, and similarly till the end of your columns. I think you notice that the only small change we have to do is we have to play with the order of the loop. So the first loop here is for each row. The second loop is for each column. So what I'll have to do a swap. I'll bring the column up and I will move the row down. So I will start with for each column, and then I will go for each row. And just as we mentioned before, if you move your column up, just remember list of I.length. This may give you a compiling error, so you can use only the number of the column, which is 4, and this is fine. Or you can use list of 0.length.